It's good morning in America. And unlike a mid 80s election or early 80s election, there is no Russian bear. Uh, like in a 60s election, there is no nuclear bomb going off with a girl picking daisies, similar to a Frankenstein movie on the creek or riverside. Everything is much more calmer now, isn't it? Really, it's emotions and anxieties that swirl over and over again, the problems, the idiosyncrasies of our mind saying, "What do you want?" So, yes, like I said, it's not an election cycle, but it's just us as people. I know I'm doing a lot of pop culture references in the first minute here. Uh, like Will Ferrell said to Christina Applegate in Anchorman, let's not be co anchors, let's be co people. And so, all of us, although we're not mating like though they were doing, we're all co people right now. And that has a variety of symptoms. Throughout our lives, being co people, as my eyes dart around the room as you see, being co people has a lot of ends to it. Some of us are born mean, and the best reference of being born mean is probably 1 or 8 or 25 Johnny Cash songs. But being born mean is that perhaps you were slighted as a child, perhaps as a young adult or late teenager, you got married early, and a husband died in a war or whatnot, and you weren't born mean, but you became mean over time. Perhaps around the age a relative had such a thing happen to them. For me, it was just a jilted relationship, and I went from the soft and cuddly and fully alert all the time kiddo that I once was to becoming more sullen in my early to mid 20s, and I wasn't able to fully expose my emotions as I once did over time. But regardless of what I just spoke of in these first couple minutes, uh, it's a strange time, and those things that dictated our youths and our early rambunctious, crazy 20 somethings are shaping how we deal with this thing now. As I've said before, this is a virus. We're all going to die. And strangely enough, as I bounce around here, is that to those that I see on a daily basis, they find it funny, as to the Chinese maiden in the background. She wept a little bit, as I talked on my birthday yesterday, and not rather indifferently, but thank all of you for doing such messages, whether it be by text, email, phone, video chat. Thank you for caring and doing that and whatnot. And perhaps I'll do a more textual message a little later on, but thank you for that. But right now, it continues. We have the two sides of the coin again, whether you want to call it liberal, conservative, dumb and smart, however you want to talk about it. A week ago, in this area in which I live, there were pronouncements or announcements in a local industrial park about how we need to open things up. You have one party talking about how we need to open things up, and the other party says, you need to bunker and hunker down and everything will be all right. And so, what do you want? Nothing has really changed. And it doesn't really matter if I say, what do you want? Beginning of the message, if I sprinkle it in the middle of a message, it really doesn't change anything. It's still so-called scary times. Let me, no, that's too difficult with the front-facing camera. But over there I have some used masks. Next to the used mask, I have some not used masks yet, meaning fresh ones. And so it still remains a very confusing time. So, America, whether there's so-called nuclear threats and little girls picking daisies, or there's a bear in our yard, Apparently, the Soviets have been replaced by a virus for the bear in our yard. We still have to try to figure this all out. And, as you've noticed, since March 11th, just minutes after the initial Trump address, you could rub your face to death, kiddos. Look at it. Look at it now, Omar. Look at it. Rub your face to death, but guess what? Many of you are still living. Many of you that have watched this are still living. And so perhaps in these indiscriminate valleys in New York or California or Oregon, or Oregon, because apparently it never went anywhere, is that those are some deeper, darker trenches of death. Louisiana, deeper, darker trenches of death. China, whether it's reported or not, deeper, darker trenches of death. And Italy as well. Some more strange stuff happening. It's still a crazy time. It doesn't matter how many times you have your favorite celebrity come on, whether their hair is graying or it's still starkly black because they bought from Just for Men, with which Walt Clyde the Glide Frazier endorsed. It's still going to be this way. It's not going to matter if you watch a eugenics. That was a Nazi policy or Rwandan policy. Newgenics with Doug Flutie or Frank White, the Big Hurt. I think I screwed that name up, but what are you going to do? From the Chicago White Sox in the 90s. We're still going to be here. Not much is going to change. And I made some more, mono or trisyllabic errors again in this video. So, what do you want, kiddos? We're still figuring this out. Still! Whether I was born a day ago, so many years ago, whether Trump announced things on March 11th or not, we're still dealing with this. So, what do you want?